Well, this is the day which the Lord has made. We are rejoice and be exceedingly glad in it. Are y'all glad to be in the house on the Lord today? Well, today I'm going to talk about fear God so you can do the right thing. Fear God so you can do the right thing. Well, today, oftentimes, if we want to fear God, we're supposed to pray, get into His Word, and study it. Because oftentimes, when we get into God's Word, we have to study it and proclaim it and hear what He has to say. Because when you fear somebody with His Word, they will have so much praise in them that they will tell God, thank you for their Word. But that's what I come to do. Preach His Word unto you. And I'm going to read Deuteronomy 5 through 27, 29 through 33. And it read like this. Go thou near and hear all that the Lord our God shall say, and speak thou unto us all that the Lord our God shall speak unto thee. And we will hear it and do it. And the Lord heard the voice of your words, and when ye spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all that they have spoken. Oh, that there were such an heart in them that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Verse 33. Ye shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God hath commanded you, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days, and the land which ye shall prosper. Okay, so what I just read in verse 27, we must go near and hear that the Lord our God shall say and speak unto us. So we're supposed to go and hear what God has to say. And when we hear what God has to say for our lives, we're supposed to speak. We're supposed to listen to what God is saying. Also, God is worthy of what we're doing with our lives. So when we speak God's word, we're supposed to listen to what He has to say. So that means we're supposed to pay attention and hear what God has to say, and see what God has planned for us. And so I oftentimes share God's word and preach it to Him. So God is willing to hear what we have to say. Because in verse 28, the Lord heard the voice of your words. See, He had heard what we have to say. That's what He had heard. That's what He had heard Moses speaking God's word to them. See, God can hear what we have to say, because when He hears what we got to say, we can get the better understanding of it. Oh, that there were such an heart in them that they would fear me and keep all my commandments. So we're supposed to fear God, keep all His commandments, that we may do well, and it was their children forever. So the take-home truth is this: when you fear God, make sure you have the right response. Need to do. Fear God so you can choose to serve God in a better way. And I got 3 things I want to raise up. Number one, listen to God's voice. Go down near and hear all that the Lord our God shall say, and speak thou unto us, and all that the Lord our God shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it. So what I just read, we're supposed to go and hear what God has to say. So when we hear what God has to say, we're supposed to hear it and do it, and do what it says. I mean, do what God says. Do what He commands you to do. Do what He asks you to do. And the Lord heard the voice of your words when ye spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of your words of this people. I mean, He have heard me speak His word through His people. When they have heard God's word and applied to it, they should go and tell somebody else about what God has said unto me. That's a word for somebody. Because when you hear God's word and go and speak it, and when you go and speak it, you shall rejoice. God shall rejoice of what we're doing. Because notice, if we go out and preach God's word to the church and tell people that we're ministering to God's word to others and telling people about the word, they will want to hear it. And when they hear it, they should feel so much better of hearing what we got to say. 2, hear God's voice. Verse 28-29. And the Lord heard the voice of your words, and when ye spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of your words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all that they have spoken. And oh, that there were such an heart in them that they would fear me and keep all my commandments, always, that it may be well with them and with their children forever. So, in verse 28, it said, and the Lord heard the voice of your word. See, He have heard what I have said. And when ye spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of your words of this people. So, He have heard my words of His people. We have to understand, when we speak in God's word to people, they will hear it and apply to it, and they shall do it, and they shall act on it. But also, when we hear God's word and speak God's word, we ought to understand that God is speaking to our hearts. But then, now also when God speaks to our heart, we also have to speak God's word to somebody else's heart so they can hear what we have to say. Because if they hear what we got to say, they will feel so much better that we're speaking God's word to somebody and applying to it. But then finally, obey God's word and apply to it. And ye shall observe to do therefore as the Lord your God hath commanded you, and ye shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. Ye shall walk in all the ways the Lord your God hath commanded you, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess. So, what we have to do, we shall observe to do therefore as the Lord your God hath commanded you. Don't turn aside to your right hand, to your left, but walk in all their ways which the Lord your God hath commanded you. So walk in all the ways which your God had commanded you. So if we do that, God will bless us. But if we do what God says, God will feel so much better that we preach His word to somebody else. But also, when you preach God's word to somebody, make sure you have the right response to what you're saying. Because if they hear what you have to say, we got to understand that God is giving us His word so we can understand of what we're saying. But then I leave you with this. If you preach God's word and apply to it and do what it says and act on it, you will get the understanding of it and you will bless somebody's heart. And when you do, make sure y'all to tell somebody about God's word and make sure they tell somebody else that Jesus is alive to the glory of God the Father. Well, today I thank y'all for tuning in to that word, and I pray that God's word will help y'all, and I pray that God will bless y'all during these trying times. Until then, y'all have a blessed, wonderful day, and I will see y'all later. Thank you.